Unlisted videos, insider drops. The only way in is through my private SMS list.
Former FBI Director James Comey just appeared on national television promoting his new novel while staring down a second indictment from the Trump administration. The charges center on that infamous Instagram post where seashells spelled out 8647 right after 2 assassination attempts on President Trump. Comey's playing the innocent grandfather card, claiming he just happened to find those shells and had no idea what the numbers meant. Yet at the same time, he's openly urging career officials inside the FBI to hang on and resist until they can rebuild the institutions after Trump leaves. This collision of book sales and legal peril has ignited fury across the country. Now, millions of Americans are watching this unfold and asking why a man with Comey's history gets to lecture the public while facing serious charges. His actions during the Hillary Clinton email probe and Russiagate already shattered trust in the FBI for families who simply wanted equal justice under the law. When a former director dismisses a coded message as harmless and then calls for resistance from within the government, it feels like the same elite rules that protected insiders during the last decade are still in play. This matters because restoring faith in federal law enforcement starts with holding powerful figures accountable instead of letting them profit from controversy. President Trump's Justice Department has signaled it will follow the evidence wherever it leads, giving ordinary citizens hope that the pattern of special treatment may finally be coming to an end. Even as accountability returns to Washington, America faces a separate national security challenge that demands urgent attention. This breaking news right now: in America's critical mineral supply chain, SAGA metals trading as SAGMF in the U.S. and SAGA in Canada is now emerging as a major story in the race to secure materials tied directly to national defense. In less than 6 months, SAGA has moved with unusual speed. Last week, the company announced a 100% drill success rate across all 57 holes in its radar project, and they finished ahead of schedule. That matters because radar is being positioned as a potential host to critical minerals that power next-generation defense technology. Check out the in-depth interview with the CEO on this topic I did over the weekend for the full picture. The company is moving fast to help reduce reliance on foreign sources and strengthen American supply lines at a time when secure domestic resources are essential for military readiness. And this push for American strength in critical minerals ties directly to the broader fight for accountability that we're covering right now. See, beyond the seashell post, new details show prosecutors have collected evidence over 11 months, not just one Instagram image. That shift from isolated incident to pattern of conduct is changing the tone of the debate, leaving Comey with fewer places to hide. Here he is on Meet the Press. I have great confidence in the people below. Hang on.
Not looked at from the top level. The people running it, if you're bragging about forcing out career prosecutors and agents because the president doesn't like a lawful investigation they conducted, something is seriously broken at the top. But I have great confidence in the people down below who are just trying to hang on. And I'm urging them, hang on. 2.5 years, and then we can rebuild these institutions. But we need good people in those roles. America does.
All right. Director Comey, let me turn to your...
Yeah, hang on. You're going to be hanging on some prison bars with a bar of soap pretty soon. Comey is counting on career officials to hang on and rebuild after Trump cleans house. And now we have the retired Marine Joey Jones unloading on Comey, and exactly why so many Americans have lost trust in the old FBI leadership. He knew exactly what he meant when he posted 8647.
When it comes to Comey, Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility. You were the director of the FBI, the lead investigator in the country. You don't know what 8647 is, but you should have the mind that works like, I wonder what that is. Let me see what that is. You should have an inquisitive mind. Your entire career was predicated on figuring out puzzles. That's who you are. But you don't know what that means? I'm sorry, but at the end of the day, if he had come out and said, hey, you know what? Hey, I mean that very benign, but it could be taken the wrong way, or it could be taken to the extreme, and I know that, and I shouldn't have posted it, then it would be a nothing burger at this point. The fact that he tries to, and I use this saying all the time because Democrats do it, spit in my face and tell me it's raining, to tell me. I didn't know what that meant. That's enough that I just sit here like, well, get him, pound him. Because if you're going to lie to me that blatantly, what else have you lied to me about? Look at, uncover all the stones. I mean, no one has done more inexplicable things in the public eye than James Comey to begin with, much less something like this, and then to pretend like I'm so dumb that I'll believe that he should know what that meant. There's just no way.
There is just no way. He knew exactly what that meant. I mean, if you didn't know what it meant, why would you post it, right? Joey Jones isn't buying Comey's claim he had no idea. Comey goes on Meet the Press to promote his new book. It's about political assassination. Comey talks about the seashells and AG Blanche stating this isn't about an Instagram post. Listen.
James Comey, author of the new novel, Red Verdict. Director Comey, welcome back to Meet the Press.
Great to be with you.
Great to have you here. Congratulations on your novel. We'll talk about it in just a moment. I do want to start with this extraordinary moment in which you find yourself, you're facing a second indictment by the Trump administration, trial in just a few weeks potentially. I know you're not going to comment on the specifics of the case, but I want to ask you a big picture question. The charges against you stem from this Instagram post of seashells that spelled out 8647. You see it right there. The indictment says it was, quote, a serious expression of an intent to do harm to the President of the United States. Has being under this microscope changed the way you live your life, Director Comey?
It's made me want to spend more time as a grandfather, pushing my grandkids on a swing and not talking to awesome people like yourself. But it hasn't changed how I see the world or my life.
Well, I interviewed the acting attorney general, Todd Blanche, earlier this month, and he said, quote, this is not just about a single Instagram post. This is about a body of evidence that the grand jury collected over the series of about 11 months. Do you know what he's talking about, evidence over the series of 11 months?
Yeah, I saw that. As you said a few minutes ago, I don't talk about the case because the federal court rules require you not. I would urge the acting attorney general to bone up on the rules.
So, but do you know what he's talking about with the,
I don't want to comment on it because then someone would say I'm commenting on the case. He ought not to be talking about it. I can't talk about it. That's why we have a judicial process in a courtroom.
Fair enough. In an interview with Stephen Colbert last year, you did address what you were thinking when you and your wife were walking on the beach. You said you saw the shells in the sand. I want to just play a little bit of what you told Stephen Colbert.
She looked at it and said, why'd someone put their address in the sand?
All right.
And then we stood at it, trying to figure out what it was. And she'd long been a server in restaurants. And she said, you know what I think it is?
Yeah.
I think it's a reference to restaurants when you would 86 something in a restaurant.
Right, it's off the menu.
Yeah. I said, no, I remember as a kid, you'd say 86 to get out of a place. This place stinks. Let's 86 it. And so I said, I think it's a clever political message. And she said, you should take a picture of it. I said, sure. And then she said, you should Instagram that. And boom.
Just big picture, Director Comey, what do you say to those who would argue the former director of the FBI shouldn't be putting political posts on Instagram or social media?
Yeah, I'm a private citizen. I saw a shell in the fall of 2024 where someone wrote an endorsement of Kamala Harris in a big seashell. I took a picture of it, thought it was very clever, and I think I wrote, Ariel understands the assignment, a reference to The Little Mermaid. I'm a private citizen. Again, I'm not going to talk about that particular post, but I use Instagram the way any awkward, nerdy dad would.
Well, in the past, you've said you have faith in the legal system. As you face this second indictment, are you confident that you will be cleared one way or another?
I have complete faith in our judicial system. It's the genius of our founders. It's frankly, the only leg of our three-leg stool that is still standing in the U.S. government, but it's standing.
And pretty soon you're going to be bending over. James Comey knew exactly what he was doing when he threatened President Trump. He deserves everything that's coming to him. Here's Josh Hawley.
It seemed like Blanche was suggesting that they have more than just a few seashell photographs. What do you think that's all about?
Well, I think that at trial they're going to put out everything they've got, and I'm sure he's right. I'm sure the grand jury saw quite a lot of evidence, otherwise it wouldn't have returned the indictment, and I'm sure at trial they're going to make their best case. And as I say, I mean, you know, threatening to assassinate the president, encouraging others to, which is what that post looked like to me. Remember, that post with the seashell thing, ridiculous, that came after 2 assassination attempts on the life of the president. So it wasn't as if Comey just didn't know, oh, gee, I don't know what it means. He knew. But Jesse, even worse than that is this is a guy who lied to Congress. This is a guy who took classified information out of the FBI, lied about it. This is a guy who leaked to the media sensitive FBI material, lied about it. This is a guy who lied to a court to get wiretaps. He lies, he lies, he lies, he cheats, he steals. This is a bad dude, and he ought to get everything that's coming to him.
And he certainly will. Hawley says Comey knew exactly what that post meant and deserves every consequence headed his way. James Comey says he thinks he would do it all again regarding announcing the reopening of Hillary Clinton's email investigation in 2016 before the election. Listen to this.
Is the fact that you don't see who? You don't see Chris Wray on this list at all, who was the immediate...
Actually, let me find the proper video. Here it is.
Loud whether your decision to reopen the Clinton email investigation 11 days before voters went to the polls may have helped elect President Trump back in 2016. Knowing what you know now, would you have made the same exact decision again?
I think so. The only thing I've wondered is whether I should have dumped that very difficult decision on the Attorney General on October the 28th. She declined to speak to me, but I could have just sent her a memo saying, here's what I think we have to do. But I decided then, and honestly, 10 years later, it feels the same. That would have been a chicken blank thing to do. It was a decision that I had to make because I testified all summer that the investigation was done, and now it's not done. Do I really conceal that from the American people, from the Congress? I can't. And it would have been a chicken thing to do to dump it on the AG. But sometimes when people are unhappy with me on the street, I think, I should have left it for Loretta Lynch.
Well, 10 years later, now that you've had all of this time to think about it, do you think that decision did play a role in the election of President Trump?
I hope not. My goal all of that year was to stay out of politics. And having seen two elections after that, where, as I said, the difference the FBI made was late deciding voters broke for Trump in 16, but then they did again in 20, and then they did again in 24 when I was home in my pajamas for both elections. So I don't think so. But again, we made the decision because it was the least bad option. Both options sucked, honestly, but this was the one most consistent with the values of the department. So as painful as it is, I'd have to do the same thing again.
President Trump was indicted.
Leading up to this election in 24, can you put it together and have a grand conspiracy, Trey?
Yeah, I think the only thing that I regret, it goes back beyond that. Remember, Sean, Jim Comey cleared Hillary Clinton before he even interviewed her. What investigator does that? He literally was drafting the exoneration memo before he even interviewed the suspect. And by the way, he allowed fact witnesses to sit in on the interview and gave her defense counsel the questions ahead of time.
Loud whether your decision to reopen the Clinton email investigation 11.
So, where do we stand? I'll tell you. The truth is becoming impossible to ignore. Comey spent years at the top of the FBI, cleared Hillary Clinton before she was even interviewed, and now pretends a threatening post aimed at President Trump was innocent. His own words calling for agents to hang on and rebuild expose the real mindset of resistance inside the bureaucracy. With Kash Patel leading new investigations and grand juries reviewing broader evidence, the era of protected insiders is cracking. Americans are no longer asking if institutions were weaponized. They're demanding to know who will face real consequences. So Comey's book tour is colliding with the very accountability he tried to dodge for years. And the American people are not buying the excuses. This moment proves that no one is above the law when the Trump administration follows the evidence. So share this report and drop your thoughts in the comments and let us know if you believe that Comey understood the 8647 threat all along. Yes or no? And text the words raw feed to that secret number on the screen, 844-840-4963, to bypass the algorithm and get direct updates straight to your phone from me. Make sure you check out the Next News merch shelf below this video for the latest America 250 gear. We're restoring truth and strength to this nation together.
The system controls information. Information control is power.
They don't want you to see this.
The truth only survives together. They don't want this shared. Share this now.